John David and Abbie Duggar may not be the most famous couple in the ever-expanding reality TV family, but they just might be the most likable. Their secret? It could have something to do with who paints whose nails. Although John David and Abbie Duggar knew each other for a long time, they didn't make a love connection until 2018 when John David's parents, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, were invited to speak at Abbie's church in Ada, Oklahoma, with John David flying in for the event. As they explained on Counting On, Abbie and John David chose to forego some of the typical Duggar courtship rules in favor of establishing their own set of relationship guidelines. They decided that it was okay to take a more relaxed approach to courting due to their advanced ages, as 26 is practically ancient in the world of Duggar love and marriage. Don't be too scandalized, though. The couple maintained the family tradition of not kissing before their wedding ceremony. If you follow John David Duggar's journey to the altar, perhaps you got the impression that although he took courtship seriously, he wasn't interested in doing it forever. He made it pretty clear to Abbie Burnett that he wanted to skip straight to kissing the bride rather than drag their minimal touching courtship on for too long. Mere weeks after his courtship announcement, John David got down on one knee inside an airplane hangar and asked Abbie to marry him.
Our relationship from the time we met to the time we were married was just a few days shy of 6 months.
Although the two concepts may look similar to viewers of Counting On, John David and Abbie maintain that engagement is very different from courtship. John David explained in a TLC video, "A courtship is more of a I'm getting to know this person with the idea of the possibility of marriage. On the other hand, an engagement is more of a commitment towards getting married. For most Duggars, courting and getting engaged have the same end result." Most of the Duggar family's numerous courtships and marriages seem to happen at a breakneck pace. However, Abbie and John David got hitched even quicker than the other Duggar siblings. So why do they seem to have the best relationship of the bunch? Even comment boards dedicated to slamming the family find it hard to dislike John David and Abbie, saying that their relationship seems more authentic than those of some of the other siblings. The couple appears to be happy when the TLC cameras aren't rolling too. A look at their Instagram page shows post after post featuring genuine smiles and fun family outings. Both John David and Abbie Duggar were raised in large evangelical Christian families organized along strict traditional gender lines. We didn't watch Abbie and her siblings grow up on television like the Duggars did, but the now-defunct family blog 10 Burnett's gives us a pretty good idea of the kind of upbringing Abbie had. According to the blog, she and her 7 siblings were homeschooled, so her mother seemingly avoided prospects of a career outside of the home to work as a full-time housewife, just like Michelle Duggar. While Abbie doesn't appear to be working outside of the home as of this video, she has something most of the other Duggar women don't: a degree, which is in nursing. She's even entertained the notion of someday returning to work. In 2019, she told Us Weekly that she plans to keep her nursing license, and that she and John David have discussed options about Abbie taking a job. Unlike his father, brothers, brothers-in-law, and even his sister Jana, John David Duggar's interests extend beyond real estate or contracting. The Duggar family fan blog reported in 2012 that John David had earned his pilot's license, a move that family members Jeremiah Duggar, Josiah Duggar, and Austin Forsyth have copied, according to the U.S. Sun. For years, John David has shuttled family members around in the fleet of small aircraft purchased by his father. After moving in with Abbie, John David was once again the sole pilot in the house, but not for long, according to the U.S. Sun. In August 2020, Abbie Duggar earned her student pilot certificate. The Duggars have gained fame for their enormous family. For matriarch Michelle Duggar, having children isn't just a hobby, it's a mandate. She and Jim Bob Duggar are followers of the Quiverful movement, an evangelical Christian crusade popularized by churches such as the Institute for Basic Life Principles, an institute with which both the Duggar and Burnett families are involved. One of the basic goals of the Quiverful movement is for its adherents to outpopulate those who don't share their religious views by having as many children as possible. Many of these fundamentalist evangelical Christian families try as hard as possible to gain a platform or following outside of their immediate social circle in order to evangelize to others. So while Abbie didn't grow up in front of TLC's ever-present cameras, she was likely raised with an understanding that publicity isn't just the goal, it's the expectation. Over the years, we've learned that John David is less outspoken than some of his siblings, like his sister, the no-filter tomboy Joanna. Instead, he has earned a reputation as a go-with-the-flow guy who gets along with pretty much all of his siblings, particularly twin Jana. Jana appears to return the sentiment, writing in an Instagram post that she, quote, couldn't have asked for a better twin to go through life with. Luckily for John David, there's no sister-in-law drama here. From the get-go, Abbie fit right in with John David's sisters, particularly Jana. Both Jana and Abbie are low-key older siblings who understand what it's like to be the last man standing. In a September 2020 Counting On confessional, Abbie shared that she too was the oldest unmarried sibling in her family before meeting John David.
I'm just super excited right now. It's so exciting because it's my turn. I'm the bride this time.
Their friendship at least gives Jana the chance to get out of the house. After raising her siblings, babysitting one baby probably seems like a well-earned break. According to Duggar data, John David and Abbie Duggar live in a single-wide trailer parked on land owned by Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar in Springdale, Arkansas. It's not clear exactly how much John David and Abbie are worth, but Celebrity Net Worth puts the number around $500,000. Even if their real worth is much lower than that, the couple has several sources of income, including proceeds from Counting On and John David's towing company, and they appear to be doing just fine. It helps that Abbie has learned how to cut John David's hair, which helps cut down on posh things like, going out for haircuts. The couple's home is a stark difference from the living situations of some of the other Duggar children. Jill Duggar and her husband Derek Dillard, for example, own a 4-bedroom Arkansas home according to the Dillard family blog. And although they aren't homeowners, Ginger Duggar and her husband Jeremy Vuolo live in a Los Angeles residence worth around $700,000 per Radar. Fans of the Duggar family may have noticed that the idea of manliness appears to be important to members of the clan. However, John David bucked the trend of adhering to predefined gender roles by adding something unexpected to his honey-do list, giving his wife a manicure. As he prepared to buff and polish Abbie Duggar's nails on Counting On, John David quipped, "I'd rather be the one spending time with my wife versus paying someone else to spend time with her." It's a sweet gesture, and Abbie must not find John David's lacquer skills lacking since, according to him, she's put the fate of her cuticles in his hands many times. She's praised her husband on his skills and his continual improvement. He's even developed his own opinions about her manicures, saying, "French tips are more romantic looking." Abbie and John David Duggar saw their lives change forever in January 2020 when Abbie gave birth to daughter Grace Annette Duggar after a 36-hour labor. The birth came after a long and difficult pregnancy, during which Abbie suffered from hyperemesis gravidarum, which is a condition that causes debilitating nausea, and ended up in the emergency room according to Us Weekly. Bucking the Duggar tradition of filming all of life's bloody, intimate moments, Abbie and John David kept TLC's cameras out of the delivery room. They still starred in a birth special, however, and they filmed their own footage at the hospital after Grace arrived.
It feels great to now be a family of 3. It's a big change, but it's a good change, and we're excited to go on adventures with our little girl now.
Despite a tumultuous beginning to their life as parents, Abbie and John David seem to be enjoying the experience of raising just one child at a time. Their shared Instagram is jam-packed with photos of cozy family outings, including weekend air shows, trips to the beach, and berry-picking adventures. There's been no news of a second baby as of now. Perhaps there are enough nieces, nephews, and siblings between them to tamper down the baby fever. Unlike some of the other Duggar couples, Abbie and John David Duggar don't appear to be too concerned with their social media stats. In fact, according to Romper, John David didn't even have a public Instagram page before he began courting his future wife. His first was a joint account with Abbie, where the couple shares just a few pics a month of their extended family, air shows, and their daughter Grace. Compare that to the accounts of, say, Jessa or Ginger, who appear to have fully launched themselves into the influencer lifestyle, complete with promotional posts for smart vacuums and pillows. Abbie's frequent posts on her family's defunct 10 Burnett's blog shows us she's not afraid of sharing her life with the world. So, by avoiding social media, she and John David appear to be making a conscious effort to minimize their exposure to the public eye. Can't say we blame them. For a couple of shy homebodies, the constant expectation to share intimate details with the camera was probably more than enough. Abbie and John David Duggar's hesitancy to share more information about their home lives is particularly odd, considering that they both came from families known for publicizing their association with their religion. Both Abbie and John David grew up in the Institute for Basic Life Principles. Besides wanting their members to have as many children as possible, the extreme subsect of conservative evangelical Christianity has even more guidelines for its followers. An exposé published by Chicago claims that IBLP adherents are encouraged to homeschool their children using a series of pamphlets produced by the church, in which every school subject is integrated with passages from the Bible and subjects are explained, quote, through the prism of male superiority and female obedience. For IBLP followers, women exist to serve the needs of men and children and are, quote, discouraged from attaining higher education of any kind. Some might find IBLP teachings rather questionable. According to the organization, Cabbage Patch Kids are symbols of evil, as are jeans and the concept of a woman winking. The ultimate goal of the church is to evangelize by integrating disgraced founder Bill Gothard's extremely conservative interpretation of the Bible into every aspect of public and private life. Despite their upbringing, Abbie and John David Duggar appear to be taking a less conservative approach to religion than Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar. For example, Abbie went to school to get a nursing degree and worked outside of the home before she was married, something that the IBLP discourages. Abbie also frequently wears pants. And unlike some of the other Duggar siblings, Abbie and John David don't seem to be in a rush to grow their little family. The couple has remained mostly silent amidst the news of TLC's cancellation of Counting On, and they left on a family trip to an air show shortly after the news broke. Perhaps they're relieved that the cameras will no longer be on them. While it doesn't seem like they're headed for a full-on rebellion against the IBLP, Abbie and John David appear to have a desire to negotiate their own relationship with their Christian faith. So as Grace Duggar grows up, fans will be watching to see just how much her upbringing differs from her parents. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Nicki Swift videos about your favorite reality TV couples are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.